So my presentation is called Teaching Dialects, and it's by myself, Lauren Brown. For an overview of the problem, a lot of people may not think about dialects in their day-to-day lives, but that's really different for people like translators and businesses who have to work with translators. If a dialect isn't properly translated, it can affect a character or a story, and they can be stripped of their intended meaning or attitude. And not only film and literature is affected, but also the business world. Miscommunications can occur, and it can lead to lost sales opportunity, and it can leave a business scarred from lost revenue. Here are some solutions already tried. In language classes today, dialects are covered but only briefly, and they don't give students a good idea. Another issue with how dialects are taught is they may not be taught in the most efficient way, so students can't really get a good idea of what a dialect is. So to be sure that students are thoroughly educated on the dialects of a language, a teacher must do more than just briefly cover what a dialect is, and with a poorly planned lesson. What I propose is that dialects should be thoroughly taught in language classes, so each person learning a new language can also be informed about its dialects to prevent future confusion. So here is my proposition in detail and why I believe it's a good solution. So it would be much easier to know all this information beforehand. And you'll do this by learning all about it in a class, because one of the hardest parts of learning a language is all the different vocabulary words that come with it. With the way that dialects are taught in school now, anytime a translator comes across a dialect, they will have to do a substantial amount of research about it before they can actually do their job on it. And another reason is because a translator who did not have access to a thorough lesson on dialects would not really be able to do a good translation or their job very well. So this is my discussion of feasibility. So the best way to go about fixing the problem is to educate the teachers so they can then educate their students. This will take a few years to go into effect, and it won't be instantaneously, but it will start by requiring teachers to take a class on the dialects so that they can teach them. This will work best with upcoming teachers, because they will likely already be enrolled in college classes, and then they can just add one more to their schedule. But for present teachers, they'll probably have to take a class during the summer or around their work. Then after the teachers have learned about dialects, they will have to make a lesson plan to share with their students. It's recommended that they spend about 1 to 2 weeks covering the dialect, so they can be sure that the students really understand them. And finally, each student who sticks with that language will be able to use the dialects that they've learned in real-world situations. So here is my discussion of feasibility continued, and this part deals with the money. So the only money that will be needed with this plan is concerning the classes that teachers will have to take. And for teachers that are already employed by a school, it will be the school that will pay for the class. And they will do this by investing part of their budget to upgrade the language education. And if the school happens to need more money in the budget, they'll have to do a fundraiser to gain money for the class. And for college students who are already taking classes with the goal of being a teacher, they'll just have to pay for the class unless they can receive financial aid or a scholarship. Here's my call to action. Dialects can cause many problems, such as potentially missing out on a business deal, causing a character or work of literature to lose intended meaning, or simply not being able to understand someone. These issues can affect many different types of people in huge ways. so it is best to be prepared beforehand. Some of the people who would be affected include translators and businesses that work with translators, as well as language learners. There's not a lot of work that goes into teaching dialects currently, which results in a lack of knowledge within translators. If they get a job where they are required to know several different dialects and all the characteristics about each one, it would be best for them to already have the information about each dialect, so they won't have to do research at the last minute. So in order to prepare future translators, teachers will have to take a class to inform themselves and their students about the dialects of the language they teach, and then they will go on to effectively teach their students about the dialect. This will benefit many people in the long run, even though this may take a while to see the positive effects. And here are my citations.